So in 2019, I had to go in for open heart surgery, which is not a fun thing to go through. It's not my favorite memory, but what came out of it was something that was pretty miraculous. And since we're talking about memories of, I thought this was and kind of a ghostly story in a way too. When I was in my surgery, when you go into the hospital, you of course you get your first room, and of course all the things in there, the jugs, the glasses, the things, the toiletries items that you have there are all marked with your name on it. Of course, my name is Grodoff and my first name is Don. So in my first room, it was a hospital not too far from my house. I had everything was lined up, all my stuff was there. And there we learned that I had to go through open heart surgery because I had some bypass issues with my heart. And so they decided to send me down to the main hospital in downtown Charlotte. And when I got there, got into my room, all my stuff was marked with my name on it, Grodoff, and the letter D. So I went through the surgery, and it was, like I said, kind of a brutal surgery where they split open your chest and open you up and actually work on your heart. And like I said, I'm glad I wasn't awake for any of that, which would be cruel if it was. But when I got out of the room, well, the first place I went was just a simple recovery room that was like a day with a group of people that were all in open heart surgeries. So it's kind of interesting to be able to see the different reactions of people that were there. But then I moved into my kind of, I guess, my last room. I don't know if I call it recovery room or whatever. And as I was sitting there, I noticed all my different articles, that the tub, the pictures, all the different things in my room were marked Grodoff H. And like I say, my name is Grodoff D. So I looked at the one of the nurses. I said, "Did I get registered wrong in this room?" And she looked up my name. She says, "No, you've got it's listed as Don Grodoff." And she looked around. She looked at all the things. She goes, "I don't know what happened. That just sounds really weird." But didn't think much about it at the time. I was not in the greatest place of thinking. But as we were coming home, we were carrying my stuff into the house, and you came in behind me, and you were carrying my bucket, and on the thing was Grodoff H. You looked at me and you said, "Oh my God, your dad was there." My dad's name is Harold, and what's even freakier about it is he died before going into the same surgery I just went through. And I know he was there, you know, as I always kind of joke about it, that he was a welder, and I think he's the one welded my rib back together, you know. Um, but it was knowing at that point that I think there's connections we can have with people outside of ourselves, and that was a good connection for me and my dad. And so it was a good story. So anyway, hello, I'm Don,
And this is Gina.
and we're with um, Focused Healthy. So you got me started on that. So Focused Healthy Family, and this is podcast number 190. And today we're talking about in memory of, and we're going to be just kind of going through some different memories of things of Halloweens of past.
Loved ones pass, thinking about those that are no longer with us on earth, and just cherishing memories that we have with them. You didn't mention, but Don's father died. He was 17 years old. Um, your
Yeah,
father was about 56. He was being prepped for open heart surgery. This would have been in 1976,
yeah,
and did not had a massive heart attack before he could have the surgery.
yeah,
So he hasn't been around. I've never got to meet him. And but just having that presence.
yeah. Well, I remember telling the nurse before we went into surgery is that one thing I didn't want to have happen was to get caught with that thing in my mouth. because that was the last memory of I had of my dad.
Intubation tube.
Yeah, when we were able to go in there. He had a couple different heart attacks before he finally left, and we were able to go in between, and he was trying to mouth me that he loved me, and having that thing in his mouth just really made it difficult for him, but he still got it out. And anyway, so that was a tough memory for me. So, what are we going to talk about today?
I think you have a joke.
Oh, yeah, my joke. Let
Lighten
me,
the mood a little
yeah, really.
since tomorrow is Halloween, whether you celebrate or not. Um, Thinking about fall festivals and fun.
All right, so here's my first one. My favorite childhood memory was making sandcastles with my grandfather until my mother took his urn away from me. I thought that was really
It
cute.
is really cute, especially since my father passed last year. And
Yeah.
uh,
Second one, are people born with photographic memory, or does it take time to develop?
it's a good one.
All right.
So today's tip is brought to you by Caregiver 101 by Mike Collins. Tips for caregivers. Um, so tip number 86, a memory album. Create an album of positive photos, sayings, cartoons, and articles that remind you of the positive aspects of your relationship with the care recipient and life, and provide you with a boost every time you explore them.
Obviously, we don't read these beforehand.
It doesn't quite make sense. But so I did this before my father passed. You can create a memory album to use with someone who has dementia. Um, Depending on their degree, putting basic information, my name is, I was born in, my birthday is, and it can be a great tool for that patient person to use with caregivers that might come in, something they can share with them. And then we started taking pictures when we'd have gatherings and things. We took pictures of the different therapists and caregivers he had and put them in the book. And it can be used as a tool for recall and memory with your loved one. And you can also have a memory book created together or for yourself for after your loved one passes.
When I also remember, besides that, you actually took some of his the photos that your mom had, and he was like to take some of the pictures out and kind of rearrange them. So you made a duplicate of it so he could be able to
Yeah, he'd
arrange
like to
them.
sort through and mark on pictures and things. And I was like, okay, Mom, let's just make a second copy. So if he marks up these pictures, it'll be okay. He just was always trying to shuffle papers and organize things. And yeah, giving him something to do. Um,
Well, if we want to talk about, if I know we were going to talk about, and we can go into lo loved ones too, but talk a little bit about some of our memories from Halloween. I don't know if I'm trying to remember when you and I dressed up. I think I dressed up as a flower. Was it a flower arrangement?
you were a box of chocolates,
Box of
and
chocolates.
I was a bouquet of flowers.
That's what it
We
was.
had a
That's what.
giant box that was probably more than 4 feet tall, and with little styrofoam, we spray painted little styrofoam balls for chocolates so you could open your box up. And I took like poster board and wrapped it like a
Yeah, you had this
bouquet
big like bouquet.
and had silk flowers coming up from it. We went to some party or somewhere,
Yeah, I think I was back with this singles group way back.
and we couldn't put them on in the car. They were giant, but they were quite creative.
Yeah, we did some good stuff back then.
We've dressed up as clowns before, had a lot of fun with that.
Well, remember we went to the what was it the the Japanese place the with the flipping knives and all of that
Yes, yes. And
because
you had a little horn, and
everybody
we
was
were
cheering
going
us
to a
on and
Halloween
stuff.
dance with friends. And yeah, we went to a restaurant first. And yeah, like every time he did something cool, he'd like squeeze the horn.
I should put that in here. But we also, I mean, we have memories of the kids too. I mean, especially like with Harrison, with all the different things we made for him. I remember putting the light on his, putting a
Well,
cap
when
on with
he
the light
was
on it.
3.5, he wanted to be electricity for Halloween, and he was going to preschool, and he told his preschool teacher this, I'm going to be electricity. She's like, okay. And Don literally hooked up a
I,
switch to a small light. You had a
it was
laundry
the
detergent
laundry
bottle,
detergent
the
up on top.
top on top, and he had a giant switch on his chest, and you flipped the switch and it turned the light
Yeah, there
on.
was a batteries. I put batteries
And he
back
had like
here.
a hat on.
It-
And I think you took him to preschool, and she was like, wow, you really are electricity.
He wasn't joking.
He was a stop sign. He was a stoplight. Oh, I painted a Magic Treehouse picture. He was a Magic
Oh, the
Treehouse
book. Yeah, I
book.
remember.
I I I guess I can copy something. My art ability is isolated to that ability to copy the cover of a book. I did that for him. He's the firstborn. I did a lot of costumes for him. um, our second child wore a lot of pre-made costumes that I think about it. We had all these different stuffed, not stuffed, but they're like I almost said animal skin, but it's like a
Was she?
velour costume that was a dog and a rabbit and um,
Did she have the wings? Was she the one with the wings?
um
Who was that? I'm trying to remember. Was that her?
well, one year I turned a unicorn into a Webkins. Webkins all have a W on them. I went to Whitehall High School, so I took my letter that I had from band and sewed the W on to this unicorn so that it was a Webkins. I'm trying to remember the other things we did. I know our youngest one, he created her own character. A Whiteria wolf, and she described it for me and bought felt and made this. We had a tail, and that might have had wings. That might have been where the wings came from. Um, yeah, having some different fun and different creativity. I have a 50s poodle skirt outfit because we went to a benefit. It was a
Those
50s
I
celebration benefit, wasn't really connected to Halloween, but then I've used that as
I
a
rolled it up
Halloween
and remember it had cigarette rolls.
costume.
Yeah.
Yeah, you took like cardboard or whatever and rolled it up in your white t-shirt and your jeans.
Uh,
Um, so yeah, going to different Halloween parties with the kids. My favorite was there was a group we did food free trick or treating with, thinking about people who have allergies and food sensitivities. So instead of getting candies, they got stickers and if what you wanted to put in, oh, I'm thinking of Easter eggs.
we're
Um,
tripping over different memories here.
I'm crisscrossing memories,
But there were some
but
of
they
that though
trick or
too, I think
treated and
too.
got, little toys and pencils and different fun little things like that. Um, taking the kids trick or treating. I still remember our youngest. She was walking before she was 1. So she would have been around 10 months at Halloween. I think that's the memory I have. And she was like, tick or teat. And was just had so much fun. Thought that was really cool that you hold a bucket up and they put candy in it. Because of
Well,
our kids' food sensitivities, I learned to make my own peanut butter cups with chocolate and peanut butter and other fun treats uh, to have
yeah, I didn't. Well, this podcast should go out the day before Thanksgiving, so
the
just
day
that way,
before Halloween.
day before
Don's just
Thanksgiving. Too.
we're just
It'll
floating
go before
around and
the.
all kinds of memories. So thinking about memories of departed loved ones. So you told the story of when your father passed, and you think of a fun memory of your father living. The cat is jumping in my lap, which is why I'm wincing.
Well, this would probably go past Halloween because I don't remember him going out with us for
Oh,
Halloween.
I don't
But
mean a Halloween memory. I meant just a memory.
yeah, but going to forward to Christmas, we always, of course, we always had the early Santa. So it would come on Christmas Eve. I think I'm trying to remember what the story. Santa couldn't get to everybody on Christmas Day, so there had to be some that came on Christmas Eve. It happened to be our house, and what we didn't know at the time was my mom would stay back. Oh, she had to do some ironing or some kind of cleaning or something like that, and my dad would take us out in our station wagon and drive
To
around
look at Christmas lights.
looking at Christmas lights while she pulled all the stuff that had been wrapped out of one of she had this big cedar chest full of stuff, and that she would keep things and lock it up in there. And well, I remember my dad driving around, and there was a one place where you could pass by and you could see our house from a distance, and you could see whether the light was on or off. And when it was off, it was time to come home. So he would keep circling around. And my brothers, I had three brothers and a sister. Well, at really young, I had two sisters, but whenever they would pull me down on the seat and then say, "Oh, look, there's Santa," and I'd be stuffed down the seat. I'm
But they
like,
were
"Let me up!"
quite
And
a bit older than you, so
yes,
they were playing
they,
along with you for this
oh yeah, they
fun
were,
game. Yes, they knew the secrets of Santa, but you yet did not, and
yeah.
so
So that
they messed with you quite a
they'd
bit.
see the sleigh going by, or they'd see Santa climbing out of somebody's house or something. And but right before that, all of a sudden, I'd get buried into the chair of the car, and then there was one memory of that mom couldn't find the key to that chest, and she had to literally get my dad's claw hammer and break the lock open to get it open so she could. And she said that day we passed that passed probably a zillion times around there before she could turn the light out. So anyway, that was like I say, my memory as a child with anywhere Christmas, Thanksgiving, that whole time was a very exciting time. I don't know whether that was the same for you with your childhood,
Oh,
but
we were all miserable and got coal in our stockings. So what I was thinking
I
of,
could see that.
my parents grew up in New Jersey, but we moved away when I was young, Ohio and then Pennsylvania. And so probably, I don't know, every other year or more than half the time, I think we drove out to New Jersey for Christmas. And my grandfather lived in the same house from when he bought it in 1950 until he passed.
Hmm.
And it was a little Cape Cod in New Milford, New Jersey. And he had some point put glass in the bathroom window that was kind of translucent. And he would, at Christmas time, he'd be like, "You can see the Star of Bethlehem out the bathroom window," and he'd bring us all in there, and we'd look, and somehow the street lights were being refracted or something to make it look like the Star of Bethlehem. I can't even say it like he'd say it. I was recently talking about this one with my cousin. I went to an aunt's surprise party, and me and my cousin were talking about that. And we're like, that must have been there year round. Like it wasn't just a Christmas, but he would pull us in there to show us at Christmas time. I have lots of memories of extended family when we go to New Jersey. Um, so my parents grew up towns next to each other, and I don't know at what point this started, but we would go. I have a memory of going to Menzo's on Christmas Eve, but I remember we would go to dinner at the Elefantes, my mom's side. Italian holidays are like you either have baked ziti or lasagna and turkey and ham, and before you even get to that, you've got the antipasto and you've got olives and cheese and crackers and all kinds of stuff, right? I'd fill up on that. And then after we got over full, we'd go to my dad's side and then we'd have desserts. There'd be cannolis and Italian cream pie and crumb cake and cookies and just a whole smorgasbord of desserts. It's like another whole meal. Um, and things that, we only enjoyed when we came into New Jersey, like the Italian cream pie and the um, this crumb cake came from a bakery, and the crumbs were thicker than the cake itself. It was just divine. Um, Fond memories of those days. Usually at my aunt Cindy's. I guess my grandmother died when I was just 12, so I guess it used to be at we'd gather at her house, but then after she passed, it was gathering at my aunt Cindy's. That might have been when we started going there in the evening after Christmas. Before that, I think we would go there on Christmas Eve. But so there's just lots of memories for me with my aunts and uncles, other extended family, great aunts and uncles. Um, my grandparents' house, their little Cape Cod, had a basement, and the ping pong table got turned into set up the basement with big giant tables, and um, I, I guess brought the food downstairs,
We had a pool table that turned into it.
and just two big, long, giant tables, and we sitting, and people would be talking, and just lots of people coming and going. And I remember thinking, as I was growing up, my grandmother never ate. I don't know if she ever came down to the basement with us. She was
Had to
probably
stay in the
enjoying
kitchen.
quiet time in the kitchen by herself. Um, um, yeah, was always the one cooking. But so those are some of my childhood memories and memories of loved ones. My dad's mother, my grandmother who died when I was 12, was this just loving big grandma's climb up in her lap and hug you. And I remember getting one of my first electronic games from her. This would have been late 79, 80. She passed away in like 82. Um, and it was, I'm motioning, but if you're listening to this, almost this
Arms extended
almost the
out.
size of a crock pot. It was this big base, and there was a dome that opened and closed on the top, and it was kind of like a Merlin game where you followed a pattern and matched it. I did get a Merlin later as well, but I just still remember this. So this was way back, early when electronic games were giant. She was up on the latest things going on. Just fun memories. Hearing her laughing and joking around. My dad's family would always be playing cards, and
And
um,
we still did for a long time, even.
they'd be playing poker and different versions of poker and betting, and what would be going on. Um,
Well, we always had to um, hide our Christmas gifts from the when the cousins came to the house. Mom always said, if you didn't want it ruined, put it up somewhere. So we'd
your
hid a lot.
country cousins.
Well, yeah, they were, yeah, because they were kind of wild kids anyway. But yeah, when they'd come to the house, we had to hide a lot of the
That's
stuff we didn't want broken because we had like, well, I remember one time this wasn't my cousin, this was my brothers. I got a sled for Christmas, really nice sled, and for some reason, like the weekend after Christmas, my brother took it out with him with his friends, and it came back and it was collapsed. The wheels were out, the little rungs were
so
out to the
his brother
side.
is like 11 years older than him. So he was obviously a teenager, or
Yeah, well, I mean, I probably was more like 11, something like that. I don't
okay,
know.
so
It
he
was pretty
was
young,
in his 20s.
and yeah, the thing was as flat as can be. But I think they ended up buying me another one. Our dad might have fixed it. He was a great welder, so he may have fixed it. I can't
Was it a
remember, but
wooden sled or
well, it was, wooden on the top. It was a wooden sled with the rungs underneath it. You know,
okay?
you had to like take wax and run it on each of the runners, and I think it was built for somebody my size, not for somebody his size.
Yeah,
And they probably had three or four people stacked on top of it, on top of it. So yeah, it was.
that's your oldest brother.
Well, I'm trying to remember. I don't think it was the oldest one. He was gone
Oh, okay.
it probably was Vernon, who was
Sounds
probably about 6 years older than I was. But I'm, yeah, it was not fun.
not fun for you.
No.
So thinking about our loved ones who are no longer here on Earth, My father passed away last October, and thinking about memories with my dad. Um,
That's very short memories.
there's so many, and I know I've shared a lot on other podcasts here. Um, he taught us to play poker from when I was really young. We would bet imaginary hot dogs. I don't know why he picked that. Um,
When he was always fun when we played cards at the house too, he had a little bit of hard time, like uh, some of the comments he had a little hard time dealing with, but he was very, we always played a lot of cards and it
joked
was,
around. So this is a fun memory. Well, he was still living with my mom shortly before he moved. We were over there, and do you remember this, Don? He asked you like, what are the symptoms of a heart attack? I guess he was feeling indigestion. He was feeling uncomfortable. He was wanting to know. And
uh,
he said, what are the signs that you might be having a heart attack?
and I held up like,
I,
I
s-
think it was like one of like a
you,
Wile E. Coyote sign.
you said, well, when Wile E. Coyote holds up the sign that says heart attack or something, and he busted out
I've
laughing.
never seen it, even before he was sick, I don't think I've ever seen him. He laughed so I thought he was going to pee in his pants sitting down there. But yeah, that was
That's,
that's a very fond memory of that of him,
yeah,
and
that
what
was the liveliest we probably saw. Him in his last years.
because even your mom was laughing at it,
Mhm.
Yeah, that was timing, I think. And.
Yeah, he lots of fun memories.
Well, I always think about one person that's kind of burnt in my mind is my Aunt Joan, which this is way before I met you, but um, she was always one that we didn't get to see her much. Originally, she was a nun. For a long time, we knew her as Sister Gwendolyn. I don't know and then she decided to come out of it and got married and all this. But whenever she came around, she'd always bring us gifts, no matter what time of year it was, whatever, she'd bring us something, you know. And she was just one of these people, just like you were saying with your mom, very jolly, very, you know, always very talkative, very open to everything. You could kind of talk to her about anything.
You're referring to my grandmother.
Yeah, what did I say?
Go ahead.
Anyway, she was just and when she got sick, she got cancer, and one regret I always had was at the time, right about a year before she left, I was living in Mississippi, and I would talk to her on the phone, and I kept saying I want to come out there, I want to go out there and visit, before you pass away. And she said, no, no, you don't need to come out
Mm.
here. And I really regret that I just didn't jump on a plane and go out there because I didn't see it. I think it was less than a year because I think it was probably about 6 months later she passed away. And that was a hard one because she was just a really, really neat person. And it would have been really good to be able to just see her one last time before she left. But
I've,
anyway.
I've got a fun memory. So my parents built a house on Lake Murray, South Carolina, for their kind of retirement house. Unfortunately, they were there 15 years and then left because it was too much to keep up. But my dad bought a bass fishing boat. And one of our first trips down there after they had moved in, he took us out on the water. It was you and me and him. And we were out in the middle of the lake and it wouldn't start.
Oh, that's when he couldn't figure out
And
yeah.
we're stuck in the middle of the water. And somehow someone comes by and wants us tugging us back. Well, he didn't know there were two tanks and he had to switch from one tank to the other. So there were a couple different things that happened out there on the water. Um,
Well, there was always my Tookie moment,
yeah,
where we got it
you
was
were
my s-
fishing.
it was just me and him, I think. I
I
don't
think
think there was
so.
anybody else. I guess this was really before we used to go down there about once a month, you know. But yeah, he took me out on the water, and it was in July because I remember that my fishing license had expired like about a week before. And I didn't know this, but and we're fishing along, and then the Coast Guard pulls up, and I'm like, wow, just it was really weird, and that they picked on us. It was really weird. They said he found out I didn't have my, or he saw my fishing. I said, your license expired, and he wanted to take me in,
To the
and I'm
police
like,
station.
are you serious? For missing a that it just so your dad,
He's a
Mr.
smooth
Smooth
talker.
Talker, yeah, he talked his way through. He brought up Tookie.
You know
Uh,
Tookie?
yeah.
I know
Yeah,
Tookie. And he
yeah.
got talking and
Just really kind of jabbered him on until finally said, all right, you know what? I'll let you go, but what I need you to do is go get the license now. And my dad was like, "Oh yeah, no problem, we'll go right," But it was really weird because my mind, I'm going, "Oh my God, they're gonna take me in." I've got, I
we
think
had one
Harrison was
child at the
born,
time.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna be in prison for this." I mean, it ran kind of wild at the time. This whole idea that they were gonna take me in, but
Was that the last time you went fishing, Don?
probably well, I don't know. I probably did it once or twice more, but I was never a big fisherman. Well, and your dad would want to get out at 5:30 in the morning. And even in the middle of summer, it was freaking cold out there and he'd hit those.
Oh,
He loved to speed it. That was like well, it was a racing boat,
it was a fishing boat.
but
But
it was made for,
well, going out on the water and to
yeah,
get to where you're going, it would sit up on top of the water when you got
and
it to a
bounce and
certain
bounce and bounce.
speed. Yeah, and bounce across the water. And then it had the trolling motor when you were actually in a
Yeah.
spot to fish.
And
But
oh my God, when he hit that high speed and just getting up at 5:30 or whatever time it was, it was cold. And so by the time I got to the beginning, I'd be like, I wouldn't be able to sit still because I'd just be shaking so much. But yeah, it was fun.
so many memories of loved ones past. It's a time of year with holidays approaching, and it can be difficult for those of us who've lost loved ones recently or around the holidays, not having them there, whether it's, a mom, a dad, a sister, a brother, a loved one, a child, aunts, uncles, kind of bringing back to life the memories of them, having pictures, stories that you can tell, um, ways to kind of bring them back to life, and because they are alive in our memories, and it's important to hold on to those. And
Well,
even with our loved ones who are here and maybe have significant dementia, and it doesn't feel like, they can really be present. I remember before your mom passed, the last Christmas, she had been in a nursing home, and your sister brought her to the house. And she was very quiet. She sat in the chair most of the time, but she got to be there with family.
yeah,
Um,
and I think she had some memory, some ability to be there at least some point and be able to know she's around family. I think that's I think that's a safe bet. Even if they're, like I say, in dementia or out there, they can still have some sense of what's going on. I think she did. I feel like she did anyway.
mm,
I think about too, you're talking about losing someone. I mean, we lost my sister. I guess it was after 1961 or something. My youngest, uh, she was 3 years older than I was.
Don
Um,
was the youngest of six, so
Six,
she was the next.
and
She was about five, right?
she passed away like, I don't know, it was like 5th or 6th of January, right after the holidays.
Mm.
And yeah, that was it. I don't think I really grasped everything at
You
the
were about
time.
three.
Yeah, but yeah, it was. I can only imagine what it felt like, but after that.
That can be difficult. Yeah, losing someone so young. But it's difficult to say goodbye. Even our loved ones who are older, suffering, and it's a relief, that they've passed. They're no longer suffering. Whatever your beliefs are, that they're in a better place or they're just no longer in pain. Um, but we can revel in just the memories of things. I know when we were moving my mom out of the house they lived in, because we had celebrated Christmases, or what we called Thanksmas, that we'd often have either Thanksgiving or around Christmas time. We'd celebrate kind of both holidays together. Some of her decorations she wanted to get rid of. And I was like, I want to hold on to these because if we're going to come to my house to celebrate, I want to have these same decorations around. And I know one year, I guess it was after your open heart surgery, because you had that November 1st, we had Thanksgiving at our house. And I remember we set up in the basement, um, and
Yeah.
we put some big tables together. And I remember thinking about, my childhood memories at my grandparents, and that, eating in the basement. It was sort of a fun experience, because it would have been too much for you to travel and everything. So people came to us, and that was
Yeah.
kind of a nice treat, um,
And
to
we had everybody
have
there too. It
that.
was nice.
I do enjoy when people can come here and we can celebrate. Um, and I can bake and do other things, and fill the house with fun and laughter and love. I know after my father passed, we um, we had his funeral service at church, and then we had family. We were going to go. We were looking at using a room where community where my mom lived, but it wasn't available, and the church wasn't available. And I decided I wanted to have people at my house. My dad never got to come see my new house. And I wanted to fill my house with memories talking about
Mm.
my dad and his love. And my aunt came out from Texas with my cousin and some of my aunts and uncles from that are up in North Carolina, up Raleigh area. Um, and it felt good to have people here at the house. My son had put together a slideshow of pictures, and I just remember, no, this is what I want. I want it here at the house, and we can have all those memories. And
My holiday spirit and my holiday memories are really good about around the holidays because I remember one Christmas we actually we always did midnight mass on Christmas Eve after we opened all the gifts and all that stuff. We did, and one year we went down. And this is going to sound weird, but we went down to DePaul Hospital, which I was born in. But there was a friend of my brother who at the time was in seminary or just came out of seminary. I can't remember, but it was one of the priests. It was after because the priest that was serving mass in DePaul was a friend of his that had graduated, and he was having mass at this small chapel in DePaul Hospital, and we were invited. There was a small group of his family and some of the friends and stuff like that. And it was an angelic time. And then we came out of the hospital, and it was probably 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And it was snowing. It was like something out of a Hallmark movie or something like that, where they come out and it's snowing. And we went back to the house. Mom made hot chocolate for us, and we sat around just enjoying the evening, even though it was like say about almost 2 o'clock by the time we got home. But it was just a really enjoyable time, and we slept in the next day, because we had already opened gifts. We didn't have to do that. So I don't know, one of those fun moments you think about from your childhood.
so, can you take some time for yourself and sit down, write out some memories, share some stories with your kids, with other family members, and um, focus on some positive, fun memories, even if your loved one is living and maybe you're challenged by caring for them, being involved in their care. Think back to some positive and fun memories, to kind of bring that alive and to lighten our days when, as it's getting darker out and the light hours are shorter and we're getting busier with lots of things to do. So that's our podcast for today. We hope you've enjoyed it. We would love to hear from you. Make sure to leave a comment, a like, subscribe to our podcasts, and so you can learn more about Don and I. And if you like what you heard, share this podcast with other people. Check out um, We air these on YouTube as well as anywhere you listen to a podcast. Learn about caring for aging loved ones and the work that Don and I do, answering your questions, um, consulting Don's EFT tapping practice. You can find more about that on every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Don does a tapping session on Zoom. You can join him there. You can learn about Don and I at our website, focusedhealthyfamily.com. You can find us on Facebook at Focused Healthy Family, Instagram, Focused Healthy Family 1, YouTube at Focused Healthy Family. Join us every Thursday when we air a podcast. Look back into our archives to see all the different topics we've covered over the almost 3.5 years we've been doing this podcast, the interviews we've done with people on different topics. And I hope you have a fun Halloween if you celebrate it. And remember, how you speak to your children and your loved ones today shapes their future and yours.